Welcome to the Prompt Engineering full course for large language models such as Chat GPT. This course is intended for not only the advanced or intermediate LLM user, this is also catering to the beginner, the absolute beginner. And in this video, we're going to be going through a multitude of different chapters, everything from getting started with prompts to specific use case prompts, and also advanced techniques, as well as pitfalls and challenges when crafting your prompts. The chapters that you see on your screen will be divided up in the video, so you can either pick up where you left off with ease, or jump directly to the topic you're in need of now. Now, before we begin, I wanted to welcome you to the world of Chat GPT. In this chapter, we'll explore the incredible power of Chat GPT, which is a cutting-edge LLM, or large language model, developed by OpenAI. Whether you're a writer, student, professional, or just curious about the capabilities of artificial intelligence, this overview will help you understand how GPT can assist you in various contexts. Before we begin exploring prompt engineering, we must cover a few basic concepts. First off, what is Chat GPT? Chat GPT is an advanced language model that utilizes deep learning techniques to generate human-like text based on the prompts it receives. It has been trained on a vast amount of data from the internet, allowing it to acquire knowledge and develop the ability to engage in conversations across a wide range of topics. By leveraging this model, you can then interact with it as if you're having a conversation with a knowledgeable partner on any subject. Let's talk about generating textual responses. This is the output you will receive for the input that you give ChatGPT. When provided with a prompt or question, ChatGPT uses its understanding of language and context to generate a relevant and coherent response. It can produce creative writing, offer insights, provide explanations, solve problems, and so much more. The responses generated by ChatGPT are not pre-written and are not pre-programmed. They're generated in real time, on the fly, based on the information it has learned. With this, we can talk about the power of context. One of the most remarkable aspects of ChatGPT is its ability to understand and utilize context effectively. It can maintain a coherent conversation by considering the prompts that precede it, allowing for more engaging and human-like interactions. Context helps ChatGPT grasp nuances, recall information, and produce more accurate and relevant responses. As a user, you can leverage this contextual understanding to guide the direction of the conversation. Let's cover some potential use cases before we do our deep dive. ChatGPT has a wide range of applications and can be incredibly useful in numerous contexts. Here are a few potential use cases. As a writing assistant, ChatGPT can help generate ideas, improve your writing flow, and provide feedback on drafts, making it an invaluable tool for writers and content creators alike. As a learning aid, students can use GPT to clarify concepts, seek further explanations, and explore subjects, expanding their knowledge and understanding. As a problem solver, GPT can assist with brainstorming ideas, finding solutions to complex problems, and offering fresh perspectives. As a language practice model, language learners can engage with ChatGPT to practice conversation skills, improve vocabulary, and gain fluency. As well as this, GPT can be used as an information retrieval tool. It can provide quick answers, explain concepts, and offer insights on various topics, acting as an interactive knowledge base, as well as creative exploration. By interacting with ChatGPT, individuals can spark their creativity, generating story ideas, and engaging in imaginative conversations. Guiding the model. ChatGPT is a powerful language model, but it relies heavily on the instructions provided through prompts. By crafting clear and specific prompts, you can guide the model to generate responses that align directly with your goals. A well-crafted prompt helps set the context, conveys expectations, and ensures that the generated responses are relevant and useful. When it comes to achieving desired results, crafting effective prompts allows you to achieve the desired result from GPT, whether you're seeking information, brainstorming ideas, or exploring creative concepts. A carefully constructed prompt helps steer the conversation in the right direction. It enables you to extract meaningful insights, generate accurate responses, and make the most out of your interactions with the model. On that note, we can talk about context and clarity. Providing context and clarity in your prompts is crucial. Context helps ChatGPT understand the background of the conversation, making its responses more accurate and coherent as the conversation continues. By clearly stating your question, inquiry, or topic of interest, you then enable ChatGPT to focus on the specific information you seek, increasing the chances of receiving relevant and helpful responses. On the topic of helpful responses, we need to talk on avoiding ambiguity. Ambiguity can lead to misleading or off-topic responses from ChatGPT. When crafting prompts, it's essential to be precise and avoid vague or ambiguous language. Clearly state your intent and any necessary constraints to ensure that ChatGPT interprets your prompt correctly. This helps to minimize the risk of receiving irrelevant, confusing, or outright unhelpful responses. Experimenting and iterating. Crafting effective prompts often involves an iterative process of experimentation and refinement. Don't be discouraged if your initial prompt doesn't yield the desired outcome. ChatGPT is a sophisticated model, and refining prompts through trial and error is a common practice. Embrace the iterative nature of the process and be open to making adjustments until you achieve the desired results. Aiding this is building rapport. Crafting effective prompts is not just about achieving specific outcomes. It is also about building rapport with ChatGPT. Treating the model as a conversational partner, being polite, and providing clear instructions can severely enhance the quality of the interaction. Building rapport fosters a more engaging and productive conversation, enabling ChatGPT to provide more accurate and helpful responses. Chapter 1. Getting started with prompts. Here we will talk about providing a rich framework, as context plays a vital role in facilitating meaningful conversations with ChatGPT. By setting the appropriate context in your prompts, you enable ChatGPT to better understand the background, purpose, and constraints of the conversation. Context helps the model generate responses that align with your goals and expectations. Through this, we will talk about the introduction of topics, continuation of conversation, and the clarification of parameters. When first introducing a topic, provide relevant information that establishes the subject matter of the entire conversation going forward. This helps ChatGPT focus on the specific domain or field you want to explore. If you're continuing a conversation with ChatGPT, referencing previous prompts or responses helps maintain that continuity. By including a brief recap or restating the key points, you then refresh ChatGPT's memory and ensure a coherent dialogue. In some cases, it's important to clarify specific parameters or constraints related to your query. This could involve specifying time periods, geographical locations, or any other relevant restrictions. Providing these details helps narrow down the focus of the conversation and leads to more accurate responses. Now, let's talk on navigating the intent. This is your intent or what you would like to get out of the ChatGPT output model. Specificity in prompts ensures that ChatGPT accurately grasps your intent and generates relevant responses. A prompt that is precise and specific guides GPT to understand what you're seeking, minimizing the chances of misinterpretation or confusion. Here we will speak on clear questions, detail-oriented requests, and examples and scenarios. When asking a question, ensure it is clear and unambiguous. State the question explicitly, avoiding multiple questions within the same prompt. This allows ChatGPT to respond with a highly focused answer. If you're making a request or seeking information, provide enough detail to help ChatGPT understand your specific requirements. Clearly state the aspects you want for the model or you want the model to address and the type of response you're looking for. Using examples or scenarios can enhance the specificity of your prompts. This is the specificity of the output that you will receive from the GPT model. By providing concrete examples or describing specific situations, you assist GPT in understanding the context and generating more relevant and tailored responses. Balancing context and specificity. To begin, we're going to talk on exploring different prompt formats and styles. Direct questions. One common prompt format is to ask direct questions. By posing a specific question, you guide ChatGPT to provide a focused answer. Direct questions are particularly useful when seeking factual information, explanations, or opinions on a particular topic. Ensure that the question is clear and unambiguous to receive the most accurate and relevant responses. Example: what are the main causes of climate change? Notice that we didn't say, what causes climate change? We asked it to list the main causes of climate change itself. On the other side, instructional prompts provide guidance and instructions to ChatGPT. They can be used to direct the conversation in a particular direction, solve problems, or engage in creative exercises. Instructional prompts work well when you want ChatGPT to follow a specific process or provide step-by-step instructions. Example: please explain the steps involved in setting up a basic website using HTML and CSS. Scenario-based prompts involve presenting a hypothetical situation or scenario to ChatGPT. This format encourages GPT to think creatively or provide insights based on the given context. Scenario-based prompts are effective when you want ChatGPT to generate imaginative responses, explore potentials or possibilities, or provide creative suggestions. Example: you are a time traveler from the future. Describe a world-altering invention that will shape the future of humanity. It should be noted that these examples will be your initial input. Once you do this initial input, you can then expand on it in continued conversations. Telling the GPT model that you are a time traveler from the future as the initial input will then help it learn and grow and essentially train the GPT model to know that all of the preceding or all of the following, conversation will be based on the fact that the GPT model you are speaking with is a time traveler from the future. Conversational prompts aim to establish a conversational tone with ChatGPT, treating it as a partner in the dialogue. We spoke on this a bit when it came to building rapport. By framing prompts as part of an ongoing conversation, you maintain continuity and provide ChatGPT with contextual information from previous prompts. Conversational prompts can be used for building rapport, exploring complex topics, and seeking follow-up responses. Example: based on what we discussed earlier about renewable energy, what are the potential challenges in implementing widespread solar power adoption? Comparative prompts involve presenting two or more options, choices, or scenarios to ChatGPT. This format encourages ChatGPT to compare and contrast the given options, offer opinions, or analyze the pros and cons of any given input. Comparative prompts are useful when seeking evaluations, preferences, or insights on different alternatives. Example: compare the advantages and disadvantages of traditional classroom learning versus online education. Fill-in-the-blank prompts provide a partially completed sentence or phrase for ChatGPT to complete. This format engages ChatGPT in a more interactive manner and encourages it to generate text that fits the given context. Fill-in-the-blank prompts are useful for creative writing exercises, completion tasks, or collaborative storytelling. Example: the key to success is blank. Prompts for generating creative writing ideas. Character prompts. We have 3 options here, and for many of our prompt examples, we're going to be looking at one of 2 things: an exact example, as you've seen in the previous slides, or a conversational starter, or the initial input, rather, that you would use to start your conversation. When it comes to character prompts, we have unlikely pairings, the time traveler's dilemma, and a mysterious stranger. Please note from here on out in this course, we will be looking at prompts in this manner. We'll be showing you examples of how to start 1 to 3 different conversations in each of these categories. When it comes to unlikely pairings, we can prompt GPT to imagine 2 characters who are complete opposites, different backgrounds, personalities, or even species. Write a scene where these characters are forced to work together towards a common goal. When we go to Time Traveler's Dilemma, a time traveler accidentally alters a significant historical event. Describe the consequences of this change and how the protagonist attempts to fix it. Or, a mysterious stranger appears in a small town, and their presence stirs curiosity and suspicion. Write a story exploring the stranger's background and the impact they have on the town's residents. Now let's move from the character or subject to a setting. An abandoned amusement park. Describe an abandoned amusement park, once full of joy and laughter, now forgotten and overgrown. Capture the eerie atmosphere and tell a story about the character's unexpected discovery within the park. We can also prompt it for things such as an underwater civilization, or we can ask it to create a vivid description of an underwater civilization, complete with unique architecture, technology, and a complex social structure. Write a tale about an outsider's journey into this captivating world. I should note that the first sentence in each one of these can go on its own. It can be a standalone prompt. You'll notice that the first provides the subject or setting, and the second tells GPT what exactly we want it to do. Let's look at this in context of Lost in the Wilderness. We'll take our first sentence. A character finds themselves lost in a vast and unforgiving wilderness. This right here will set the prompt. We could even start this by saying, you are a fictional author named Author GPT. A character finds themselves lost in a vast and unforgiving wilderness. We're going to be writing on this story. Do you understand? Now we can go to our second sentence, or even alter our second sentence, knowing that Chat GPT is operating within these initial parameters. We can say, describe the challenges they face and how they navigate their way back to civilization, encountering unexpected allies or dangers along the way. Now we have character subjects and settings, but let's talk about plot prompts, and genre-specific prompts. In plot prompts, we can see the forbidden book. Write a story about a character who discovers a book with a powerful, dangerous secret. Explore the consequences of their decision to delve into its forbidden knowledge. Or, a parallel universe. Imagine a world where parallel universes exist and are accessible through a hidden portal. Create a narrative where a character accidentally stumbles upon this portal and must navigate between different realities. We can also see in our plot prompts a quest for redemption. Craft a tale about a flawed protagonist seeking redemption through a challenging quest. Explore their internal struggles, the obstacles they face, and the transformative journey they undertake. Now from plot, we can go to genre specific, and for our 3 examples, we have science fiction, fantasy, and mystery. When it comes to A, we can see in a distant future, humans have colonized other planets. Write a story exploring the relationship between humans and an alien species on a newly discovered planet, focusing on cultural clashes and the search for common ground. Fantasy. Create a world where magic is on the verge of extinction. Tell the story of a young mage who embarks on a perilous journey to save magic from fading forever. Mystery. Set a scene in a secluded mansion where a murder has taken place. Craft a captivating mystery as a detective investigates the crime, uncovering hidden motives and clues that lead to a shocking revelation. Now, when it comes to genres, plots, subject matter, as in characters, protagonist, antagonist, or settings, we can string all of these together, generally starting with our genre-specific prompts. If we set a genre with ChatGPT as our initial input, we can then build on that genre, writing our story, or having GPT generate our story rather, all based on the genre you initially trained it on. Prompts for engaging in fictional conversations. Let's first talk about character interactions, or a reunion of long-lost friends. Write a conversation between two friends who haven't seen each other in years. Explore their emotions, reminisce about shared memories, and reveal how they have changed since their last encounter. We can also speak on emotional conversations, such as heartfelt confessions, apology and forgiveness, or a bittersweet goodbye. Let's talk about apology and forgiveness. Develop a conversation where a character seeks forgiveness from someone they have wronged. Portray the remorse, understanding, and the process of rebuilding trust between the characters. While we have character interactions and emotional conversations, inside of our fictional conversations topic, we can speak on humor and intimacy as well. GPT inside of humor can portray a number of things, such as witty banter, comic relief, or mishaps and misunderstandings. Playing on option C, mishaps and misunderstandings, we could have GPT write a dialogue where miscommunication or humorous misunderstandings lead to comedic situations. Play with wordplay, double entendre, or situational humor to create an entertaining interaction between the characters. Now, on contrary or contrast to humorous exchanges, we can speak on intimate dialogues, such as shared grief and support, in which we could prompt GPT to write a conversation between two characters who've experienced a shared loss, depict their raw emotions, mutual support, and the healing power of their connection during a difficult time. Prompts for brainstorming and problem solving. To begin with, we can speak on idea generation, and we're going to go through each of these as they're very unique. In A, we have future inventions. Imagine a world where technology has advanced significantly. Brainstorm and describe 3 revolutionary inventions that could transform people's lives in the future. Creative story starters. Generate 3 unique story prompts that incorporate unusual elements or unexpected twists, encouraging imaginative storytelling and captivating narratives. Prompts for innovative solutions. Identify a common problem or challenge and propose 3 innovative solutions that could potentially address or resolve it. Consider out-of-the-box ideas and approaches. Problem-solving scenarios. Let's start with sustainable energy, as that is at the forefront of many individuals' minds. Describe a scenario where a community is struggling with energy consumption and environmental impact. Brainstorm 3 feasible solutions to promote renewable energy adoption and reduce the carbon footprint. How about team collaboration? Imagine a scenario where a team is facing communication breakdowns and conflicts. Suggest 3 strategies or interventions to improve teamwork, foster collaboration, and enhance productivity. When it comes to time management, consider a situation where an individual is struggling with time management and prioritization. Propose 3 practical techniques or tools to help them better manage their time and increase productivity. Along with idea generation and problem-solving scenarios, we have creative challenges and decision-making, with decision-making being very interesting on a large language model. Design a dream vacation. Envision an ideal vacation experience for a specific target audience. This is where we can start tweaking GPT with things such as real-time demographics, context, and information. Brainstorm and outline a unique itinerary with activities, accommodations, and memorable experiences. Or, redesign everyday objects. Select a common household object and reimagine its design and functionality to make it more efficient, sustainable, or user-friendly. Generate 3 innovative concepts for the object's redesign. Artistic collaboration. Imagine collaborating with an artist from a different medium. Brainstorm 3 creative projects that merge your respective art forms to create a unique and immersive artistic experience. When it comes to creative challenges, we can see that it can interpret a multitude of them. Now let's speak on decision making. When it comes to ethical dilemmas, present a morally challenging situation where characters must make difficult choices, explore the consequences and implications of each decision, and provide a rationale for the character's chosen path. It should be noted that any of these prompts can be used in fictional or non-fictional environments. All you have to do is present GPT with the exact demographic you're wanting it to train on. Career path exploration. Help someone struggling to choose a career path by presenting them with 3 potential career options. Describe the unique aspects, challenges, and opportunities associated with each choice. Now, project prioritization. Assume the role of a project manager with multiple tasks and limited resources. Prioritize 3 tasks based on importance, urgency, and the potential impact on project success. Prompts for exploring philosophical questions, such as existential crisis questions, ethics, and morality. Meaning of life. Reflect on the meaning and purpose of life, discuss your interpretation, and articulate what gives your life meaning and fulfillment. Free will versus determinism. Contemplate the concepts of free will and determinism. Explore whether humans have true agency over their actions or if everything is predetermined. I want to say that in some of these philosophical questions or prompting scenarios, I have had some of the most incredible and unexpected responses from GPT. Nature of reality. Investigate the nature of reality itself. Discuss whether reality is subjective, objective, or a combination of both, and the implications of such perspectives. When it comes to moral dilemmas, consider challenging ethical situations where there is no clear right or wrong answer. Engage in a thoughtful discussion about the different moral frameworks that can be applied. Utilitarianism versus deontology. Compare and contrast utilitarianism and deontological ethics. This, of course, can be used with any this versus that scenario. Explore the strengths and weaknesses of each approach and discuss which one you find more compelling. In ethical responsibility, reflect on the concept of ethical responsibility and its implications, discuss the obligations individuals have towards others, and the impact of personal choices on society. We can also speak on knowledge and perception and social and political philosophy. The problem of knowledge. Examine the nature of knowledge and the limitations of human understanding. Discuss different theories of knowledge, such as empiricism and rationalism, and their implications. Subjectivity versus objectivity. Explore the distinction between subjective and objective perspectives. Engage in dialogue about whether objective truth exists or if all knowledge is influenced by individual perception. The nature of consciousness. Delve into the mystery of consciousness. Discuss different theories of consciousness, such as dualism and materialism, and contemplate the relationship between the mind and the physical world. Below knowledge and perception, we have social and political philosophy, starting with justice and equality. Reflect on the concepts of justice and equality. Discuss different theories of justice, such as distributive justice and retributive justice, and explore the challenges of achieving a just and equal society. I should remind you at this time that all of these prompts are just your initial starters. This is the initial input you'll give GPT, and using information that you'll gain throughout this course will help you not only start a conversation, but continue the conversations in ways that will further extract the specific information you're looking for. Let's go ahead and continue with B, power and authority. Examine the nature of power and authority in society. Discuss the legitimacy of political power, the role of consent, and the responsibilities of those in positions of authority. Social contract theory. Explore the idea of a social contract and its implications for society. Discuss the trade-offs individuals make in exchange for societal benefits and the role of government in upholding the contract. Next chapter will be educational and learning prompts. We will begin with prompts for learning new concepts and subjects. Exploring science and technology, astronomical wonders. Dive into the fascinating world of astronomy. Discuss 3 celestial objects or phenomena such as black holes, supernova, or exoplanets, and explore their significance in our understanding of the universe. Sustainable technology. Investigate innovative technologies aimed at addressing environmental changes. Explore 3 sustainable technologies, such as renewable energy systems, green transportation, or waste management solutions, and discuss their impact. Introduction to coding, one of my favorite prompts to dive into. Embark on a coding journey by exploring the basics of programming. Discuss 3 fundamental coding concepts, such as variables, loops, or conditional statements, and their applications in problem solving. Social sciences and humanities, starting with psychology fundamentals. Delve into the human mind and behavior. Discuss 3 key concepts in psychology, such as classical conditioning, cognitive biases, or theories of personality, and their relevance in understanding human behavior. Historical events. Choose 3 pivotal historical events and examine their significance. Discuss the causes, consequences, and broader implication of these events, shedding light on their impact on society and the course of history. I wanted to note that when it says something like choose 3 or choose X, this is not telling you to go out and choose 3 historical events. While you definitely can, this right here is giving GPT complete freedom over choosing 3 events that it deems worthy for its prompting. These could be ones that have the most relevant information or the most context available. Cultural diversity. Explore the richness of cultural diversity around the world. Discuss 3 distinct cultures, highlighting their customs, traditions, and unique characteristics that shape the identity and experiences of their respective communities. Personal development. Effective communication. Explore the art of effective communication. Discuss 3 essential components of good communication, such as active listening, nonverbal cues, or persuasive techniques, and their role in fostering meaningful connection. In time management strategies, we can have GPT reflect on effective time management practices, discussing 3 strategies such as prioritization, goal setting, or task batching that can enhance productivity and help achieve a healthy work-life balance. Along with a healthy work-life balance, we can speak on emotional intelligence. Investigate the concept of emotional intelligence and its importance in personal and professional relationships. Discuss 3 aspects of emotional intelligence, such as self-awareness, empathy, or emotional regulation, and their impact on overall well-being. As well as personal development, we can speak on academic disciplines, like an introduction to philosophy. Delve into the world of philosophy, or the world of philosophy as a whole. Discuss 3 major branches of philosophy, such as metaphysics, ethics, or epistemology, and explore the central questions and theories associated with each branch. Environmental science. Explore the interconnectedness between humans and the environment. Discuss 3 environmental science topics such as climate change, biodiversity, or conservation, and their significance in addressing global environmental challenges. Art appreciation. Dive into the world of art and aesthetics. Discuss 3 art forms or mediums, such as painting, sculpture, or music, and explore the techniques, cultural context, and historical significance associated with each form. Let's move on to prompts for enhancing language skills and vocabulary. This section will be highly tuned to English language learners or learners of any language, as GPT can be prompted to speak in any language that is native or non-native to you. Vocabulary building. Let's start with word of the day. Each day, learn a new word and explore its definition, pronunciation, and usage. Use the word in a sentence or engage in a dialogue with Chat GPT to reinforce its understanding and contextual application. You may notice in this part, we're transitioning from actual example prompts to put into your input and more of a description on how you can go about achieving your goals. In this case, goals on language skills and vocabulary. Let's talk on thematic word associations. Choosing a theme or topic of interest and brainstorm a list of related words. Engage in a conversation with ChatGPT using the words in context to deepen your understanding and familiarity with vocabulary. Synonyms and antonyms. Select a word, and this is something you will do. This is not a prompt you're giving GPT. Select a word and explore its synonyms and antonyms. If we were to do this, let's say we take the word synonyms. We would then plug it into ChatGPT, telling it, explore synonyms and antonyms of the word synonyms. Use ChatGPT to discuss the subtle nuances and differences in meaning, allowing you to expand your vocabulary and improve word choice. Grammar and syntax. Sentence structure analysis. Present a sentence to ChatGPT and analyze its grammatical structure. You can do this by literally giving a sentence to ChatGPT as an input, using a period, and then telling it to analyze the grammatical structure of this sentence. You can also tell it to do things such as identify the subject in this sentence, the verb, or other components. You can then discuss the role of each element and explore alternative ways to construct the sentence as well. Error correction. Share a sentence or paragraph with ChatGPT that contains grammatical errors or syntax issues. You can also use this if you don't know if the sentence or paragraph contains any errors, but use ChatGPT to sniff them out. Engage in a conversation to identify and correct the errors, discussing the rules and principles of proper grammar. Complex sentence construction. Challenge yourself by constructing complex sentences with multiple clauses or phrases. Discuss the structure, conjunctions, and punctuation involved in creating cohesive and grammatically correct complex sentences. Idioms and expressions. Using ChatGPT to learn idiom origins and meanings, we can present a commonly used idiom for GPT and explore its origin and meaning. We can then engage in a conversation to understand the figurative language and cultural context associated with said idiom we entered as input. Figurative language exploration. Choose a figure of speech, such as a metaphor, simile, or personification, and discuss its purpose and effect in communication. Use ChatGPT to generate examples and explore the nuances of figurative language. Expressions in context. Share a conversation or dialogue with ChatGPT that includes expressions or idiomatic phrases. You can then discuss the meaning and usage of these expressions, exploring their effectiveness in conveying specific ideas or emotions. Language fluency and pronunciation. We can use ChatGPT for basic conversational practice. We can engage in conversational exercises with ChatGPT, focusing on fluency and natural language flow, discussing various topics, exchanging opinions, and striving to maintain a coherent and engaging conversation. We can also use GPT on the way to either correct or give insight into portions we're missing. Pronunciation challenges. Share challenging words or phrases with ChatGPT and discuss their pronunciation. Explore specific sounds, intonation patterns, or syllable stress, and practice pronouncing them accurately. We can also use GPT for reading aloud. Select a short passage or paragraph from a literary work or article and read it aloud to ChatGPT. Discuss the tone, rhythm, and emphasis in the meaning or in the reading, aiming to improve your oral delivery and overall fluency. Let's move on to prompts for practicing math and science problems. This can be used at any level. When it comes to mathematics, algebraic equations. We can share an algebraic equation with ChatGPT and work together to solve it step by step, discussing the properties of equations, simplifying expressions, and solving for unknown variables. In geometry, we can present a geometrical problem or proof to ChatGPT and engage in a dialogue to explore different approaches and strategies, discuss geometric shapes, angles, theorems, and their applications. In data analysis, We can provide a dataset or statistical problem to ChatGPT and discuss methods for analyzing the data, explore concepts such as mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and correlations, just to name a few. In physics, specifically in this case, kinematics, we can present a kinematics problem involving motion and ask GPT to help solve it, discussing concepts like displacement, velocity, acceleration, and the equations of motion. Forces and Newton's law. Share a problem related to forces and Newton's law of motion with ChatGPT. We can then engage in a conversation to analyze the forces at play, calculate net force, and apply Newton's law to solve the problem. We can also discuss energy and work problems, such as calculating potential energy, kinetic energy, or solving work energy problems, exploring the principles of conservation of energy and the work energy theorem. Let's move on. In chemistry, specifically starting with stoichiometry, we can share a stoichiometry problem involving chemical reactions and ask ChatGPT to guide you through the calculations, discussing mole ratios, limiting reactants, and the concept of balancing chemical equations, as well as periodic table trends. We can engage in a conversation with ChatGPT to explore the periodic table and its trends, discussing atomic structure, electronegativity, ionization energy, and atomic radius. Or chemical equilibrium, discussing problems related to chemical equilibrium and Le Chatelier's principle, explore the factors that affect equilibrium, calculate equilibrium constants, and analyze the shifts in equilibrium. Instead of chemistry, let's now talk about biology, and starting with genetics problems, we can share a genetic problem or a Punnett square with ChatGPT and work together to solve it, discussing inheritance patterns, genotypes, phenotypes, and probability calculations. When it comes to cellular processes, we can engage in this conversation such as photosynthesis or cellular respiration, discussing things such as the reactions involved, the role of ATP, and the overall energy transformations, as well as discussing evolutionary concepts, such as natural selection or genetic variation, exploring examples of adaptation, speciation, and the mechanisms driving evolutionary change. From here, we can speak on prompts for historical and cultural exploration. Starting with historical events and significant moments in history, we can discuss a historically significant event of our choosing or period of time with ChatGPT, exploring its causes, consequences, and impact on society. We can dive into topics such as the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, or the Civil Rights Movement. We can also discuss historical figures by choosing a historical figure who has made a notable impact and engaging in conversations with GPT about their life, achievements, and contributions. We can then discuss their influence in areas such as politics, science, arts, or literature, as well as going into my favorite in this section, which is historical mysteries. We can explore unsolved historical mysteries or controversies, engaging with ChatGPT to discuss theories, evidence, and possible explanations for events such as the disappearance of Amelia Earhart or the identity of Jack the Ripper. As well as historical, we can also look at cultural traditions such as festivals and celebrations. We can discover cultural festivals and celebrations from around the world, engaging in a conversation with ChatGPT to learn about the significance, rituals, and traditions associated with events like Diwali, Carnival, or Chinese New Year. As well as this, we can dive into folklore and mythology. We can explore the rich world of folklore and mythology, discussing mythical creatures, legendary heroes, or creation myths from different cultures, delving into their symbolic meanings and cultural significance. As well as my favorite here, traditional cuisine. We can dive into the culinary traditions of various cultures, engaging with GPT to learn about traditional dishes, cooking techniques, and the cultural significance of food in different regions around the world. In cultural exploration, we can discuss further things such as art and literature and cultural heritage. We can explore different art movements such as Impressionism, Surrealism, or Renaissance art, discussing prominent artists, their styles, mediums, and the historical contexts that influence these movements. We can also engage in conversations with ChatGPT about renowned literary works from different time periods and cultures, discussing the themes, characters, and symbolism in works such as Pride and Prejudice, 100 Years of Solitude, or The Great Gatsby, one of my favorite. We can also discuss influential films and filmmakers from different eras and countries, exploring the impact of movies like Citizen Kane, Rashomon, or La Dolce Vita, and their contributions to the art of cinema. In cultural heritage, we can explore things such as World Heritage Sites, such as exploring UNESCO World Heritage Site and engaging in conversations with GPT about their historical, cultural, or natural significance, discussing iconic sites such as the Great Wall of China, Machu Picchu, or the Taj Mahal. In traditional music, we can discover various cultures and engage with GPT to explore different genres, instruments, and the cultural contexts in which they are performed. We can also discuss things such as traditional clothing and attire from different cultures. We can learn about the cultural symbolism, materials, and designs associated with garments like the kimono, sari, or kente cloth. Professional use case prompts. Let's begin with prompts for writing persuasive articles and essays. As a blogger and vlogger myself, this is an extremely crucial section that pertains to everything that I do in my daily workflow. Let's start with social issues, technology, and society. We can take a stance on climate change and engage in a conversation with GPT to develop persuasive arguments supporting your position, discuss the impact of climate change, propose solutions, and the importance of collective action. You'll notice there's a key phrase here, supporting your position. You can prompt GPT on any topic and then have it support or negate your certain position. We can choose a specific human rights issue, such as gender equality or freedom of speech, and engage in a dialogue with GPT to articulate persuasive arguments. We can explore the significance of the issue, potential challenges, and possible solutions. We can go further and look at educational reform. We can discuss the need for education reform, whether it's addressing access to quality education, improving teaching methods, or reevaluating standardized testing. We can do this by engaging with ChatGPT to craft persuasive arguments and propose viable solutions. In technology and society, we can engage in a conversation about the ethical implications of emergent technologies such as artificial intelligence itself or genetic engineering. These are only a couple of topics, but let your mind run free with this. We can develop persuasive arguments that address the ethical considerations, potential benefits, and risks associated with these advancements. We can have it take a position on digital privacy concerns, surveillance, or data protection, using GPT to explore the importance of privacy rights, the impact of data breaches, and the need for robust privacy regulations. In social media influence, something that has been getting extremely out of control as of late, we can discuss the influence of social media on society, focusing on topics like misinformation, cyberbullying, or the impact on mental health, crafting persuasive arguments regarding the potential consequences, and also propose strategies for responsible social media use. Continuing, we can speak on health and wellness, engaging in a conversation about promoting healthy lifestyle choices such as exercise, balanced nutrition, or mental well-being, developing persuasive arguments to encourage individuals to prioritize their health and make positive changes, as well as another hot topic, which is vaccinations. We can take a stance on the importance of vaccinations or engage with GPT to develop persuasive arguments supporting, or of course negating, the benefits of immunization, either way we take a stance on. We can discuss the science behind vaccinations, debunk common myths, and address vaccine hesitancy. In mental health awareness, we can discuss the importance of raising awareness about mental health issues, reducing stigma, and improving access to mental health resources. We can craft persuasive arguments that emphasize the need for a supportive society and effective mental health policies. Moving forward into ethical dilemmas, we could supposedly engage in a conversation about animal rights and ethics, discussing topics like animal testing, factory farming, or wildlife conservation, crafting arguments to promote or again negate ethical treatment of animals and address the implications of human animal relationships. As well as another hot topic, which is capital punishment. We can take a position on capital punishment and engage with GPT to develop persuasive arguments supporting or again negating your stance. We can discuss ethical considerations, concerns about wrongful convictions, and alternative approaches to criminal justice. Which brings us to ethical consumption. We can, with ChatGPT, discuss the importance of ethical consumer choices, such as fair trade, sustainable practices, or supporting local businesses. We can craft these persuasive arguments to encourage individuals or negate the desire to make informed choices that align with their values. Let's move on to prompts for crafting engaging marketing copy, something that I also use on a regular basis. Let's talk about first product descriptions, and brand messaging. Unique selling points. We can engage in a conversation with ChatGPT to brainstorm and articulate the unique selling points of your product or service. We can craft persuasive descriptions that highlight its key features, benefits, and also how it stands out from competitors. We can discuss the emotional appeal of your product or service with ChatGPT and explore ways to incorporate storytelling techniques, evoke emotion, and create a compelling narrative around how your offering can improve the lives of customers. We can also use GPT to identify and communicate the specific benefits and values that your product or service brings to customers, crafting concise and persuasive descriptions that clearly articulate the advantages and address the customer pain points, things like price. Brand identity and values. We can explore this as well as our brand mission and values in a conversation with ChatGPT, crafting compelling messages that communicate the essence of your brand, its purpose, and how it resonates with the target audience. We can also discuss the tone and style of your brand's communication with ChatGPT. We can develop things such as catchy slogans, taglines, or memorable key phrases that embody your brand's personality and differentiate it from the competitors. We can also use this for CTAs, engaging in a conversation about effective call to action. Craft persuasive CTAs that motivate customers to take a desired action, such as making a purchase, subscribing to a newsletter, or scheduling a demo. Moving on, we can discuss the importance of attention-grabbing headlines for social media posts and advertisements. Personally, I use this on TikTok and Facebook ad copy for past and current dropshipping stores. We can brainstorm with ChatGPT to create catchy and concise headlines that pique curiosity and encourage engagement. We can also use GPT to develop persuasive ad copy that effectively communicates your message within a limited space, discussing the use of persuasive language, storytelling, and features that make your product or service stand out, as well as exploring the power of social proof in marketing. We can discuss strategies for incorporating customer testimonials, reviews, or influencer endorsements into our marketing copy to build trust and credibility. In email marketing, we can speak on personalization and segmentation, discussing the importance of these with ChatGPT. We can explore ways to segment our audience and craft tailored messages that resonate with each segment or demographic's unique needs and preferences, as well as brainstorming impactful subject lines that entice recipients to open your emails in the first place. That is the first bridge. We can discuss strategies such as curiosity, urgency, or appealing to specific customer pain points to increase your open rates. We can craft persuasive and action-oriented CTAs for your email marketing campaigns as well, discussing with ChatGPT how to refine the language and placement of CTAs to increase click-through rates and conversions. I should say that all four of these former headlines that we've talked about, like social media, email marketing, and product descriptions, these will all begin with an introduction to your product. You will inform GPT of what your product is, certain size demographics, things such as that. So you will describe your product to GPT and then go on down the list of these marketing copy prompts. Let's move on to prompts for developing product descriptions. Particularly, I wanted to make this its own chapter, as product descriptions are everything. It's not just the back-end SEO, but it's where you gain your trust, and it's where your brand package really comes to light. Let's talk about identifying key features. We can use Chat GPT to identify the key features of your product. That is, once it knows your demographic, which you will give it initially. And if you don't know your demographic, you can also have GPT generate that for you. We can have GPT discuss its functionality, design, materials, and any unique attributes that set it apart from similar offerings in the market. You should know with GPT, this will actually identify similar offerings in the market for you. It can also tell you what the best sellers were and give you examples of how they went about their descriptions. We can explore the benefits and solutions your product provides to customers, discuss with ChatGPT how these features solve specific pain points, enhance customer convenience, or improve the overall user experience. We can craft product descriptions using language that speaks directly to the needs and desires of your target audience, collaborating with GPT to identify phrases and keywords that resonate with your demographic. We can engage with GPT to craft a compelling narrative around your product, using storytelling techniques to evoke emotions, create connections with customers, and demonstrate how your product can enhance their lives. This leads into imagery and sensory language. GPT can teach us how to incorporate vivid imagery and sensory language into our product descriptions. We can learn how to invoke the senses by describing how the product looks, feels, smells, sounds, or tastes, if applicable. With lifestyle enhancement, we can explore how our product can improve the lifestyle or solve a problem for our customers, collaborating to develop descriptions that paint a picture of how the product seamlessly fits into their daily lives. As well as this, we can differentiate and stand out from our competition. We can engage in a conversation about the unique selling points of our product and elaborate on them. We can use ChatGPT to discuss how these aspects differentiate our offering from our competitors and why potential customers should choose our product over theirs. We can also use ChatGPT to collaborate and analyze our competitors and identify areas where our product outshines theirs. We can craft descriptions that emphasize these advantages and highlight the value proposition of our product. We can also discuss the importance of incorporating customer testimonials and social proof into our product descriptions, brainstorming ways to find creative outlets to showcase positive reviews and build trust among potential customers. We can craft product descriptions that provide specific and detailed information, engaging with ChatGPT to ensure that our language and grammar, as well as sentence structure, is clear, concise, and easy to understand for our target demographic. We can discuss with GPT the use of bullet points and formatting techniques to enhance readability, breaking down our features and benefits into easily digestible chunks, making it effortless for customers to really grasp the value of our product. Using SEO optimization, we can explore strategies for our product descriptions for search engine visibility, collaborating with ChatGPT to incorporate relevant keywords and phrases that will improve your product's visibility in online searches. We can plug in our existing product descriptions and then prompt GPT to insert these keywords and still make it concise and readable. Let's go on to talk about prompts for generating business ideas and business strategies. We can engage with ChatGPT to analyze current market trends and industry dynamics, discussing emerging sectors, current trends, evolving consumer preferences, or technological advancements that present opportunities for new business ventures. We can brainstorm to identify gaps or unmet needs in already existing markets, exploring areas where customer demands are not fully satisfied, and discussing how your business idea can fill those gaps and provide unique value. We can go further to discuss disruptive technologies or business models that have the potential to revolutionize industries, collaborating with GPT to explore how we can leverage these innovations to create a new business or transform an existing one. ChatGPT can help us better understand customer pain points and challenges in specific markets or demographics, brainstorming ideas for products or services that can address these needs and provide solutions that enhance customer satisfaction. We can also explore niche markets that may be underserved or overlooked by larger businesses. We can discuss with GPT how to identify and then cater to these specialized markets, offering unique value propositions to target customers in a target demographic. Speaking on demographic, GPT can actually analyze and give us this demographic information. We can use the model to analyze demographics and psychographics of specific customer segments, collaborating with the GPT model to understand their preferences, behaviors, and aspirations, and then generate business ideas that resonate with these target audiences. We can use GPT to discuss different business models in reference to either our plan that we're selling, our service, or our product. These go on such as subscription-based services, platform-based businesses, or freemium models. We can brainstorm ways to adapt or create new business models that align with your idea and target market. We can also explore opportunities for diversifying your existing business or expanding into new markets, engaging in a conversation with GPT to generate strategies for product extensions, geographical expansion, or a new market entry. We can also use GPT to develop revenue streams for your business ideas, discussing potential pricing models based on what has worked in the past, which GPT can analyze in real time, partnerships, licensing opportunities, or advertising strategies that can drive sustainable profitability. We can use GPT to engage in a conversation about building strong brand identity. This will be in our brand kit or brand package, discussing how we can differentiate our brand from competitors. Now, we spoke on how to differentiate our product, but how do we differentiate our brand itself? Well, we do this by developing a compelling brand story and creating a memorable brand experience. Someone who orders the same product from company A and company B, well, they ordered the same product. It's going to rely on the experience when they receive that product. That is, such as packaging materials, customer service, follow-up marketing, so on and so forth. In marketing, we can explore different marketing channels and discuss their effectiveness in reaching our target demographic, using GPT to develop strategies for online marketing, social media engagement, influencer collaborations, or traditional advertising. We can also collaborate to develop strategies for building and maintaining strong relationships with customers, discussing customer loyalty programs, personalized marketing campaigns, and customer feedback mechanisms to foster brand loyalty. Moving on to technical and programming prompts. When it comes to algorithmic problem solving, we can engage with GPT to discuss various data structures, such as arrays, linked lists, stacks, queues, trees, or graphs, brainstorming ways to implement and utilize these data structures in different programming scenarios. We can explore different sorting and searching algorithms with ChatGPT, such as bubble sort, quick sort, binary search, or hash tables, discussing their time and space complexities and applying them to solve programming challenges. We can also collaborate with GPT to understand the concept of dynamic programming and how it can be used to optimize solutions to complex problems, discussing strategies for breaking down problems into smaller subproblems and reusing computed results. We can engage with GPT to explore the concepts of classes and objects in object-oriented programming, discussing how to define classes, create objects, and apply inheritance, encapsulation, and polymorphism to model real-world scenarios. We can use GPT to identify common design patterns such as singleton, observer, factory, or strategy patterns, discussing their purposes and usage in software development and applying them to solve coding challenges. We can also use this for error handling and exception handling. We can use GPT to understand the former and the latter, and mechanisms that are in programming languages in general. We can discuss strategies for detecting and handling errors gracefully in our code. We can even go as far as to take a code snippet, copy it, paste it into GPT, and have it explain certain functions, if you will. In web development, we can have a conversation with GPT to discuss HTML coding as a whole, but we can also use it for tags, CSS styling, and layout techniques. We can brainstorm ways to structure web pages, apply styles, and create responsive designs that adapt to different devices. We can also explore JavaScript programming with GPT, discussing functions, variables, control flow, and DOM manipulation. We can collaborate to solve coding challenges related to event handling, form validation, or dynamic content generation, just to name a few. Again, remember, we can take a code snippet, paste it right into GPT, and then use that as our initial prompt to continue our conversation or ask for questions or clarification. We can discuss popular web development frameworks and libraries such as React, Angular, or Vue.js. We can explore how these tools can enhance productivity and solve common web development challenges effectively. We can also use GPT for problem-solving strategies. Using GPT, we can break down complex problems into smaller, manageable components, discussing strategies for analyzing requirements, identifying edge cases, and designing modular solutions. We can collaborate with GPT to understand the principles of test-driven development, discussing strategies for writing unit tests, conducting test coverage, and leveraging testing frameworks to ensure code reliability. We can also engage in a conversation about optimization techniques in coding, exploring strategies for improving algorithm efficiency, reducing time complexity, or optimizing memory usage to create efficient and scalable solutions. Let's move on to prompts for troubleshooting and debugging assistance. Discussing error messages encountered in your code with ChatGPT is something that I do regularly. We can use this to understand the meaning and potential causes of a certain error message and brainstorm possible solutions to resolve them. We can also use GPT to learn how to reproduce the issue or bug consistently, going through the steps or conditions necessary to actually trigger the problem, enabling you to narrow down the potential causes. We can use our logs and debugging tools with GPT as well. We can discuss how to incorporate logging statements or utilize debugging tools to gather information and gain insights into the code execution flow. We can engage in a conversation with GPT to review our entire code once done or at any point in between, discussing the logic, syntax, and potential areas where issues might arise. We can collaborate to identify any potential mistakes, overlooked edge cases, or incorrect assumptions. We can also use GPT to inspect the values of variables during runtime, exploring ways to track the flow of data and identify any unexpected values or changes that may contribute to the issue. We can use GPT as well to analyze dependencies and integration points in our code, discussing potential conflicts or compatibility issues that could lead to the problem and exploring strategies to resolve them. Breakpoints and step-by-step execution. We can explore the use of breakpoints and step-by-step execution with ChatGPT, discussing strategies for pausing code execution at specific points to inspect variable values and trace the flow of the program. We can discuss the utilization of print statements or logging statements strategically inside of our code. We can collaborate then to identify areas where additional output can provide insights into the code's behavior during runtime. We can also talk about code isolation and testing, using strategies for creating simplified test cases or isolated modules to narrow down the source of the issue and verify potential solutions. On brainstorming solutions, we can use ChatGPT as well, looking for alternative approaches, techniques, or workarounds that could address the issue and help you move forward. We can also engage GPT about leveraging external resources, documentation, or online communities for troubleshooting assistance, discussing how to search for relevant information, ask for help, and learn from the experience of others. We can also explore the concept of iterative problem solving, discussing the importance of testing and verifying each potential solution and the iterative nature of the troubleshooting process. Moving on to prompts for generating algorithmic solutions. In problem analysis, we can use GPT to gain a clear understanding of the problem statement, discussing the input and output requirements, constraints, and any specific rules or conditions that need to be considered. We can then break down the problem into smaller sub-problems, discussing strategies for dividing the main problem into manageable components, making it easier to devise algorithms for each and every part. We can then go on to identify patterns, structures, or similarities between the problem and other known algorithms or data structures, learning ways to leverage these patterns to devise efficient solutions. We can also talk on brute force and exhaustive search techniques. We can discuss with ChatGPT how we can systematically explore all possible solutions and evaluate their feasibility for solving the problem. We can then explore the concept of greedy algorithms, discussing strategies for making locally optimal choices at each and every step to reach an overall optimal solution, looking for ways to apply this approach and solve the problem at hand. Again, this will all go off the code or code snippet that you feed GPT initially. We can then go on to divide and conquer, collaborating with ChatGPT to understand this paradigm. We can discuss how to divide a problem into smaller subproblems, as mentioned before, and then we can go on to solve them independently, and then combine all solutions to obtain the final result. We can go on to array and list manipulation, discussing the techniques for manipulating these to solve specific problems efficiently. We can explore strategies for searching, sorting, merging, or filtering elements in these data structures. We can then engage in a conversation about graph algorithms such as breadth first search or BFS, depth first search or DFS, or Dijkstra's algorithm. We can discuss their application and brainstorm ways to adapt them to the problem you are solving. We can then go on to understand the principles of dynamic programming, discussing how to break down complex problems, again, into smaller, this time overlapping subproblems, and then storing the computed results for efficiency. We can discuss time and space complexity analysis with GPT, exploring strategies for optimizing algorithms to achieve better performance in terms of execution time and memory usage. On this, we can brainstorm with ChatGPT to better understand memoization and caching techniques, or memorization and caching techniques. We can discuss how to store intermediate results to avoid redundant computations and improve the efficiency of the algorithm. We can also use this in algorithm optimization for trade-offs and optimization strategies, discussing the balance between time complexity and space complexity and exploring optimization strategies based on the problem requirements. Prompts for exploring computer science concepts. Let's begin with data structures and algorithms. We can engage in a conversation with GPT to understand arrays, their properties, and their applications, discussing how to access elements, perform basic operations, and optimize array usage in different scenarios. We can also collaborate with ChatGPT to explore linked lists and their advantages over arrays, discussing the concepts of nodes, linking elements, and the various types of linked lists, such as singly linked lists and doubly linked lists. We can also brainstorm with ChatGPT to understand the concepts of trees and graphs, discussing the different types of trees, such as binary trees, AVL trees, or B trees, and explore graph representations and traversal algorithms. Going to algorithms, we can engage in a conversation about searching algorithms, such as linear search, binary search, or hash-based search. All of these things we can learn based on what ChatGPT already knows on its 65 billion plus parameters. We can discuss their time complexities, pros and cons, and explore how to apply them to different scenarios. With sorting algorithms, we can explore it with ChatGPT like bubble sort, insertion sort, merge sort, or quick sort. We can discuss their time complexities, stability, and trade-offs, brainstorming ways to optimize sorting for large data sets. With ChatGPT, we can also delve into graph algorithms, including breadth first search or BFS, depth first search or DFS, Dijkstra's algorithm, or minimum spanning trees, discussing their applications and or variations. Moving forward into programming paradigms and computer architecture, we can engage in a conversation about OOP, or object-oriented programming, such as classes, objects, inheritance, encapsulation, and polymorphism. We can discuss the advantages of OOP and how it can improve software design and development. With functional programming, we can learn about concepts such as higher-order functions, immutability, and pure functions, discussing the benefits of functional programming and its applications. With event-driven programming, we can learn its principles, its usage in graphical user interfaces, or GUIs, or GUIs if you've heard for short, or asynchronous programming, discussing event handlers, event loops, and message passing, just to name a few. When it comes to the actual computer architecture, we can learn more about CPU and RAM. We can engage in a conversation about the central processing unit, or CPU, and memory, discussing concepts such as registers, cache, RAM, and virtual memory, exploring how they exactly interact and impact the performance of a computer system. We can go further into operating systems to explore the functions and components therein, discussing things such as process management, memory management, file systems, and scheduling algorithms used in modern operating systems. Beyond the local network, we can talk about actual networking and internet. We can brainstorm with GPT to understand networking concepts, including protocols, IP addresses, routing, and client-server architectures, deeper learning of the layers of the OSI model, and how data is actually transmitted over the internet. Scientific and research prompts. Let's start with prompts for scientific experiments and hypothesis. When it comes to formulating hypothesis, we can use GPT to gather background information on a specific scientific topic, discussing theories, observations, and empirical evidence to develop a solid understanding of the subject matter we wish to learn more about. We can also identify knowledge gaps or areas where further investigation is needed, brainstorming potential hypotheses that could fill these knowledge gaps and contribute to scientific advancements. We can go further into defining variables, learning how operationalize variables in your hypothesis, exploring the independent and dependent variables, as well as potential confounding factors that should be controlled or accounted for in your experiments. Into designing experiments, we can engage in a conversation about experimental design principles with ChatGPT. We can discuss the importance of things such as control groups, randomization, sample size, and replication, and ensure the validity and reliability of our experiments. We can also collaborate with ChatGPT to explore different methods for collecting data during our experiments. Things such as surveys, observations, measurements, and other techniques that are suitable for testing your hypotheses can be discussed. We can then go further to brainstorm with GPT to identify appropriate data analysis techniques for evaluating the results of our experiments. Things such as statistical tests, visualization methods, and other tools that can help us draw meaningful conclusions can all be handled within the GPT model. When it comes to actually conducting experiments, we can engage in a conversation about the step-by-step procedures required to conduct our experiments, discussing the necessary materials, equipment, and protocols to ensure accurate and consistent data collection. When it comes to variables, we can have ChatGPT help us learn controlling variables for our experiments, learning ways to minimize external influences and confounding factors that could affect the outcome of our experiments themselves. We can also discuss ethical considerations in our experiments and learn the importance of things such as informed consent, privacy, and the responsible treatment of participants or subjects involved in your research. Now we can move to interpreting results and drawing conclusions. GPT can help us actually interpret the data we collect from our experiments. With this information, we can learn more or expand on things such as statistical significance, patterns, trends, and any other unexpected findings that may actually challenge or support our hypothesis. With error analysis, we can analyze potential sources of error in our experiments through GPT, discussing systematic errors, random errors, and other ways to minimize or account for these errors in our data analysis and interpretation. We can then go on to brainstorm with GPT to draw conclusions based on the results of our experiment itself. We can go further to discuss how our findings contribute to the existing body of knowledge around our subject and or propose future directions for further research and exploration. Let's move on. This is prompts for analyzing and interpreting data. When it comes to data exploration, we can use GPT to understand different data types and variables, things such as categorical data, numerical data, continuous variables, discrete variables, and their significance in our research context. We can also collaborate with ChatGPT to explore techniques for cleaning and preparing our data for analysis, discussing strategies for handling missing values, outliers, and inconsistencies to ensure the quality and integrity of our dataset. When it comes to exploratory data analysis, or EDA, ChatGPT can also help us perform this task. We can use GPT to discuss techniques such as summary statistics, data visualization, and correlation analysis to gain insights into the patterns and relationships within our data. Going further into statistical analysis, we can engage in a conversation about descriptive statistics with ChatGPT, learning more about measures of central tendency such as mean, median, and mode, as well as measures of variability such as range, standard deviation, and variance. When it comes to inferential statistics, we can also use ChatGPT, discussing things such as hypothesis testing, confidence intervals, p-values, and statistical significance to make inferences and draw conclusions from our data. With regression analysis, we can brainstorm with ChatGPT to better understand it, discussing things such as, not limited to, linear regression, multiple regression, and logistic regression to explore relationships between variables and predict outcomes based on our data. Let's go further into data with data visualization, graph types, and selection. We can use GPT to discuss things such as bar charts, line graphs, scatter plots, histograms, and other visual representations that effectively communicate our findings. Going further, we can use GPT to interpret visualizations of our data, discussing how to identify trends, patterns, outliers, and relationships between variables through data visualization techniques. We can go in with storytelling as well, presenting our data effectively and telling a compelling story. We can use GPT to learn about the importance of clear labels, titles, and annotations to enhance the understanding and impact of our data visualizations. Beyond visualization, we can begin drawing conclusions. We can use GPT to learn how we can better align our data analysis with our research hypothesis, discussing whether our findings support or actually refute our initial hypothesis and explore possible explanations for the observed results. We can go further to collaborate with GPT to identify limitations and assumptions inside our data analysis, discussing things such as a potential source of bias, sample size limitations, and other factors that may influence the generalizability of our findings. In implications and recommendations, we can also, again, use Chat GPT to, discuss the implications of our data analysis and potential applications of our findings. We can then go further to explore recommendations from GPT itself based on all of its parameters for future research or actions based on our results. Prompts for literature reviews and research summaries. Let's start with identifying relevant literature. We can then engage in a conversation with ChatGPT for ideas and explore different research topics within our field of interest. We can discuss key concepts, keywords, and search strategies to help us identify relevant literature sources. We can collaborate with GPT to learn about effective literature search techniques, discuss databases, academic journals, conference proceedings, and other sources to gather scholarly articles, books, and research papers related to our research topic. This is helpful in many different ways, as GPT can instantaneously find all relevant research topics in many different formats, or research material rather, based on our subject matter or research topic. We can brainstorm with GPT to understand how to assess the credibility and reliability of the literature sources we find, discussing criteria such as peer reviews, author credentials, publication venue, and relevance to our research topic. When it comes to analyzing and synthesizing literature, we can begin by engaging with GPT about efficient reading strategies and note-taking techniques, discussing how to extract relevant information, key findings, and main arguments from each source, while organizing our notes for later synthesis. We can collaborate with GPT to identify common themes, trends, and controversies across the literature sources we have gathered, whether we have gathered them on our own or use GPT to do all of the work for us. We can then discuss with GPT how different authors contribute to the existing knowledge base and present varying perspectives. We can go further with GPT to develop an entire conceptual framework that integrates the main concepts and theories discussed in the literature, discussing how to create a visual representation or outline that captures the relationships and connections among different ideas. Moving on to summarizing and writing, we can use GPT in a conversation about the structure and organization of research summaries. It should be noted that we can use GPT to summarize our own research or an external source that we want to learn quickly. We can discuss things such as the typical sections, like introduction, methodology, results, and conclusion, and also how to effectively present the main findings of each study. We can use GPT to understand how to better paraphrase information from the literature sources and properly cite the original authors. We can discuss the importance of academic integrity and the appropriate citation style for your field of study. We can brainstorm with GPT to critically analyze the literature and generate a discussion around the gaps, strengths, and limitations of the existing research, discussing how our own research or project can contribute to filling those gaps and advancing the field. Past summarizing and writing, we have organization and presentation, which GPT is a miracle worker with. We can use GPT to learn about the overall structure and flow of our literature review. Beyond summarizing and writing, we can use GPT, and it's a miracle worker for this, for organization and presentation. We can use GPT to learn more about the overall structure and flow of our literature review, discussing how to introduce the topic, provide context, present the main findings, and conclude with a summary of the key contributions of the reviewed literature. We can then go on to refine our writing style and ensure clarity in conveying complex ideas, using GPT to better form our sentence structure, paragraph coherence, and the use of appropriate language to make our literature review accessible and engaging. We can go further to brainstorm with GPT to develop effective editing and proofreading strategies. That's something I certainly struggle with, and I can attest that GPT is wonderful at that. We can discuss techniques for revising our literature review, checking for things such as grammatical and spelling errors, and improving the overall quality of our writing itself. Prompts for exploring complex scientific concepts. When it comes to concept clarification, we can use GPT to establish the foundational aspects of the scientific concept we wish to explore, discussing things such as its definition, key components, and its relevance in the field of study. We can collaborate with GPT to delve into the fundamental principles underlying the scientific concept, learning more on things such as the theories, laws, or models associated with the concept and their significance in understanding related phenomena. We can use GPT to further explore the connections between the scientific concept we are studying and other concepts within the same or different scientific disciplines. We can discuss how they interact and contribute to a broader understanding of the natural world. We can go further with applications and examples to get things such as real-world concept. This allows us to learn more about the real-world applications of the scientific concept itself, discussing how it is utilized in various fields, industries, or research areas, and its impact on society and technological advancements. We can learn about case studies, as GPT has 65 billion plus parameters. All historical case studies can be referenced. We can use GPT to explore case studies or examples that illustrate the practical implementation of the scientific concept, discussing specific experiments, studies, or projects that showcase its significance and provide concrete instances of its application. We can also learn about success stories or breakthroughs related to the scientific concept, discussing notable discoveries, advancements, or innovations that have emerged through the exploration and understanding of this concept. On experimental exploration, we can use GPT to develop hypotheses or research questions related to the said concept, discussing things such as potential experiments, simulations, or observational studies that can be designed to investigate and validate these hypotheses. We can use GPT to brainstorm the design and methodology of experiments or simulations associated with the scientific concept, discussing variables, controls, data collection techniques, and analytical methods suitable for investigating the concept. We can go further to interpret these results of the experiments or simulations using GPT to learn more on the implications of the findings, potential limitations, and areas for further investigation or refinement of the scientific concept. With future directions and cutting-edge research, let's begin with emerging trends. We can use GPT to learn about current developments and emerging trends related to our concept, discussing things such as recent research papers, conferences, or scientific discussions that shed light on new findings or advancements in the field. We can then go on to identify open questions or unresolved aspects associated with these scientific concepts, discussing areas where further research is needed, potential challenges, and the significance of addressing these unanswered questions. Also, we can explore opportunities for collaboration or engagement with researchers, scientists, or experts actively working or in the past had worked in the field of our study. We can use GPT to learn how to connect with relevant communities, attend conferences, or contribute to ongoing discussions and research initiatives. Moving on to personal and self-reflection prompts, and starting with prompts for journaling and self-reflection itself. When it comes to daily reflection, let's begin with gratitude journaling. We can use GPT to reflect on the things we're grateful for each day, discussing things such as moments of joy, acts of kindness, or positive experiences that you can acknowledge and appreciate. We can use GPT to explore our current emotions and feelings with an emotional check-in. GPT will conversate with us about what is going well, what challenges we may be facing, and how we can process and navigate our emotions effectively. We can also have GPT help us identify the highlights of our day, discussing our moments of achievement, personal growth, or meaningful interactions that stood out to us and made a positive impact. We can learn more about our self-identity and core values. With GPT, we can open a conversation about our beliefs, passions, strengths, and aspirations, and how they align with the person we want to become. Collaborating with GPT, we can also reflect on our short-term and long-term goals, discussing the steps we can take to work towards them, the obstacles we may encounter, and the strategies we can employ to overcome challenges. GPT can also help us explore self-care practices that nurture our well-being, learning about activities that bring us joy, promote relaxation, or enhance our physical, mental, and emotional health. We can use GPT to engage in a conversation about significant milestones or events in our life, discussing and expanding on the lessons learned, personal growth experience, and how these moments have shaped us as adults or individuals in some cases. When it comes to challenges and resilience, we can use GPT to reflect on those that we have faced and the resilience we have shown, discussing how we've grown stronger, what strategies have helped us overcome obstacles, and the lessons we've learned along the way. We can also explore moments of transformation or turning points in our life, discussing experiences that have altered our perspective, values, or goals, and how they've influenced our personal growth journey. We can engage GPT in a conversation about thought-provoking questions that foster self-reflection, learning more about prompts related to personal values, relationships, decision-making, and self-awareness that encourage deeper introspection. We can explore strategies for personal growth and self-improvement, discussing habits, routines, or practices that can enhance our skills, knowledge, or well-being and support our journey of continuous self-improvement. We can then reflect on our accomplishments and celebrate our successes with the GPT model, discussing the milestones we've reached, the skills we've developed, and the growth that we've achieved along our personal journey. Prompts for exploring personal goals and aspirations. When it comes to reflecting on passions and interests, we can use GPT to discuss activities, subjects, or causes that ignite our enthusiasm and bring us joy. We can then explore our strengths and natural talents, discussing the skills, qualities, or abilities that come easily to us and how we can leverage them to pursue our goals and aspirations. Using GPT for self-reflection and expanding and learning about ourselves is seriously an untapped resource. If you haven't just given it a try, I urge you to, because it's absolutely amazing. We can use GPT to reflect on our core values and learn more on how they align with our specific goals and aspirations, discussing the importance of living in alignment with our values and how our values can guide our decision-making process. We can go further to actually give clarification, or receive clarification rather, on those goals and aspirations, discussing specific outcomes we want to achieve, the timeline for achieving such, and the milestones we can set along the way to make our journey easier. GPT can also help us apply the SMART framework to our goals. We can discuss how to make them more actionable, realistic, and trackable, just to name a few. We can then brainstorm with GPT to determine the priority of the goals we've set, discussing which goals are most important to us, the potential trade-offs, and the steps we can take to focus our efforts on the most significant goals. Moving on, we can engage GPT to identify potential obstacles or challenges that may arise on our journey, discussing the external factors, internal barriers, or limiting beliefs that could hinder our progress. We can explore strategies for overcoming obstacles and staying motivated, discussing techniques such as problem solving, resilience building, seeking support, and adapting our approach. We can then reflect on setbacks or failures we may have encountered along the way. We can learn how setbacks can actually provide valuable lessons, resilience building opportunities, and redirection for our goals and aspirations. We can break down our goals into actionable steps, learning specific actions we need to take and the resources or support we require to take them. We can also learn how to track our progress. We can explore strategies for accountability and support as well, learning how we can hold ourselves more accountable, actually seek feedback or constructive criticism, or involve others who can provide guidance and encouragement on our journey. We can then establish a practice of regular review and adjustment using GPT, learning how to assess our progress correctly, celebrate achievements efficiently, and make necessary adjustments to our goals and our action plan. Prompts for practicing gratitude and mindfulness. When it comes to cultivating gratitude, we can use GPT to actually reflect on the things we are grateful for and expand on our knowledge around them. Discussing specific moments, experiences, or people we appreciate and why they hold significance in our life. We can then create a virtual gratitude walk. This is something that I tried and is actually really cool to experience. With GPT, we can discuss and expand on the sights, sounds, and sensations we would encounter, expressing gratitude for the beauty of nature, the environment, and the world around us, just to name a few. We can then explore acts of kindness we can engage in to express gratitude, discussing ways to show appreciation to others, lend a helping hand, or contribute positively to our community. Going on to mindful awareness, we can actually have GPT guide us through mindful breathing exercises, and then discuss the process of bringing attention to your breath, observing the sensations, and cultivating a sense of calm and presence in the moment. Again, I can attest, GPT's guided breathing exercises are wonderful. We can then explore sensory awareness exercises. We can discuss tuning into our senses such as sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, and fully immersing ourselves in the present experience. We can also use GPT to learn how to practice mindful eating, discussing things such as savoring each bite, paying attention to the flavors, textures, and sensations of food, and cultivating gratitude for nourishment and the nourishing qualities of the meal. We can learn through GPT how we can start writing gratitude letters to express appreciation for someone in our life, discussing the impact they've had on you and how their presence or actions have shaped your gratitude. We can then explore mindful listening exercises in our interactions with others, learning the practice of things such as giving full attention, suspending judgment, and truly hearing and understanding the perspectives and feelings of the person you are conversing with. GPT is really good at teaching empathy. We can also use it, however, to create gratitude rituals within our relationships, learning ways to express gratitude regularly, such as sharing daily gratitudes with loved ones or setting aside time for gratitude reflections together. We can then develop gratitude affirmations, positive statements that focus on gratitude, abundance, and appreciation, and repeat them regularly to cultivate a grateful mindset. Moving forward, we can learn how to establish mindful pauses throughout our day, taking moments to pause, breathe, and bring awareness to the present moment, allowing yourself to reset and refocus. Going further, we can actually create regular gratitude reflections with GPT and have them scheduled, discussing things such as setting aside dedicated time each day to reflect on the things we are grateful for, cultivating a habit of gratitude, and nurturing a positive mindset. Prompts for enhancing emotional intelligence. Let's begin with emotional self-reflection. We can use GPT to reflect on our own emotions and their underlying causes, learning how things such as certain situations, thoughts, or triggers impact our emotional state, and we can gain insights into our emotional patterns. From here, we can begin to expand our emotional vocabulary, learning different emotions and their nuances, and exploring ways to identify and articulate our feelings more precisely. Furthermore, we can explore the connection between our emotions and our bodily sensations, learning how emotions manifest physically and how we can develop a greater awareness of these bodily cues to better understand and regulate our emotions. We can then learn about exercises that promote perspective taking, learning how to step into someone else's shoes, considering their point of view, and exploring the emotions they might be experiencing. With this, we can develop active learning skills and explore ways to cultivate empathy in our interactions, learning things such as the importance of empathy, identifying commonalities with others, and embracing diverse perspectives to foster understanding and compassion. We can then explore strategies for regulating and managing our emotions themselves, learning techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, reframing, and finding healthy outlets for emotional expression. Things such as developing stress management techniques can also be accomplished through Chat GPT. We can learn about coping mechanisms, self-care practices, and strategies for reducing stress levels and promoting emotional well-being. We can go further to explore approaches to resolving conflicts effectively, learning strategies for managing emotions during conflicts, active communication, and seeking win-win solutions that consider the emotions and needs of all parties involved. We can then learn how to establish and maintain emotional boundaries in our relationships, learning the importance of setting limits, communicating your needs, and respecting the boundaries of others. Going further, we can use ChatGPT to actually improve empathetic communication skills, learning techniques for expressing empathy, active listening, and validating others' emotions in our interactions and relationships. Going further again, we can learn ways to provide emotional support to others, discuss things such as being present, offering reassurance, and creating a safe space for individuals to express their emotions without judgment. Let's move on to ethical and controversial prompts, and let's begin with prompts for discussing ethical dilemmas and considerations. Identifying ethical dilemmas. We can engage in a conversation with ChatGPT to explore ethical dilemmas encountered in everyday life, discussing scenarios that pose conflicting values or ethical principles such as truthfulness, fairness, or privacy. We can then discuss ethical dilemmas that commonly arise in professional settings, exploring situations involving conflicts of interest, ethical decision-making in leadership roles, or navigating organizational values. Then we can go further to delve into global ethical dilemmas that impact society at large, discussing topics such as environmental sustainability, social justice, or the ethics of emerging technologies. We can also engage in a conversation with GPT to learn about foundational ethical principles, learning concepts like autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice, exploring how they guide ethical decision-making in various contexts. We can also explore the contrasting ethical frameworks of utilitarianism and deontology, just to name a couple, discussing the considerations of maximizing overall happiness or adhering to moral duties and principles when faced with ethical dilemmas. We can also go further to consider how cultural and contextual factors influence ethical perspectives, discussing the impact of things such as cultural norms, social values, and individual experiences on ethical decision-making. On ethical decision-making and the process of such, we can learn through GPT about considering the potential consequences of ethical decisions, learning the short and long-term impacts on various stakeholders and the ethical implications of different outcomes. We can then begin to actually explore ethical reasoning techniques, discussing with GPT methods such as moral reasoning, thought experimentations, and considering alternative perspectives to inform ethical decision-making. We can seek guidance with GPT and explore strategies when facing ethical dilemmas. We can discuss the importance of consulting ethical codes, seeking advice from mentors or experts, and engaging in ethical discussions with peers. We can go further to actually learn about analyzing ethical case studies. With GPT, we can learn about real-life scenarios or even hypothetical situations, identifying the ethical issues involved, evaluating potential solutions, and considering the underlying ethical principles. Then we can reflect on our personal ethical values and discuss with GPT how our values shape our decision making process and how we can navigate situations where our values may actually conflict with others. We can then explore ways to engage in constructive ethical discussions with other individuals, discussing things such as active listening, open mindedness, and empathy as essential components for respectful and fruitful conversations. Let's move on to prompts for exploring social and cultural controversies, starting with identifying social and cultural controversies themselves. We can use GPT to explore these topics, discussing things that are making headlines such as racial justice, gender equality, climate change, or technological advancements. Keep in mind that ChatGPT does not have an opinion. It is an unbiased service, or at least was developed to be. We can use GPT to delve into historical controversies through its parameters that continue to resonate today, discussing events or movements that have shaped society, exploring their impact, differing interpretations, and ongoing debates. Then, we can consider social and cultural controversies from different perspectives, learning how values, beliefs, and traditions influence societal debates and explore the complexity of navigating cultural differences. We can learn about practicing empathy and active listening in discussions of controversies, learning about the importance of seeking to understand different perspectives, suspending judgment, and fostering respectful dialogue. We can use GPT then to explore intersectionality in social and cultural controversies, learning how factors such as race, gender, class, and orientation intersect and influence individuals' experiences and viewpoints. Then we can go further into ChatGPT to actually develop media literacy skills when engaging with controversies. This is a wonderful topic for anyone in the media area or vloggers, such as myself. We can discuss with GPT and learn about critical analysis of social media sources, recognizing bias, and fact checking to navigate complex and often polarizing information landscapes. We can engage in a conversation about applying ethical frameworks to social and cultural controversies, discussing principles such as justice, fairness, human rights, and cultural relativism. We can examine how they inform different perspectives on these controversial issues. We can then go to explore moral dilemmas arising from social and cultural controversies, discussing or learning about situations where values or principles may clash, examining the ethical implications and potential resolutions. We can cultivate cultural sensitivity when discussing controversies through engaging GPT, discussing the importance of cultural humility, recognizing power dynamics, and challenging assumptions to foster inclusive and respectful conversations. On fostering these relations, we can learn about constructive dialogue in controversial discussions, using GPT to learn about techniques for active listening, finding common ground, and seeking collaborative solutions that address multiple perspectives. We can also explore strategies for bridging divides and promoting understanding in these controversial conversations, discussing with GPT things such as empathetic communication, seeking shared values, and emphasizing dialogue over debate. Then we can learn to consider ways to translate these discussions into actual action, learning the importance of things such as civic engagement, advocating for change, and participating in meaningful initiatives related to the controversies being discussed. Let's move on to prompts for analyzing moral and philosophical arguments. Establishing ground rules. We can use GPT to learn about the importance of active listening in respectful debates and discussion, learning techniques such as paraphrasing, asking clarifying questions, and giving space for others to express their views. We can explore the significance of mutual respect in productive conversations, discussing the value of treating others' viewpoints with respect, refraining from personal attacks, and focusing on issues rather than individuals. We can learn how to emphasize the role of open-mindedness in respectful debates and discussions, learning things such as the importance of being receptive to new ideas, considering different perspectives, and being willing to revise one's own beliefs based on reasoned arguments. We can learn about the role of logic and reasoning in constructing persuasive arguments as well, learning techniques such as evidence providing, using sound reasoning, and avoiding logical fallacies to strengthen the effectiveness of arguments. We can explore the significance of supporting evidence in persuasive discussions and learn the importance of things such as reliable sources, data, empirical evidence, and examples to substantiate claims and increase the persuasiveness of our argument. We can learn how to emphasize the value of considering and addressing counterarguments as well, learning things such as the benefits of acknowledging opposing viewpoints, anticipating objections, and providing thoughtful responses to strengthen one's own argument. We can go on to actually managing disagreements in conversation. We can learn how to do things such as use more respectful language when expressing our disagreements, learning things like the importance of avoiding derogatory or inflammatory language, focusing on the ideas actually at hand or being discussed, and fostering an atmosphere of mutual understanding. We can explore things such as the role of emotional intelligence in managing disagreements, discussing strategies such as self-regulation, empathy, and seeking common ground to de-escalate conflict and maintain productive conversations. We can learn through GPT about considering techniques for resolving conflicts in debates and discussions, learning approaches such as finding compromises, seeking consensus, or agreeing to disagree while preserving the overall respect and integrity of the conversation. We can engage with GPT in a conversation about the importance of perspective taking in debates and discussions, learning how understanding backgrounds, experiences, and viewpoints can enhance empathy, bridge divides, and lead to more meaningful dialogue. We can explore the power of empathetic communication in respectful debates and discussions, and discuss the value of validating others' emotions, acknowledging their perspectives, and expressing empathy even when there are disagreements. We can also learn to encourage critical self-reflection on assumptions and biases that may hinder productive conversations, learning the benefits of questioning one's own beliefs, recognizing implicit biases, and engaging in dialogue with intellectual humility. Let's move on to advanced prompt techniques, starting with using conditioning and temperature to guide responses. Conditioning for specific contexts. We can learn more about GPT through these advanced prompt techniques, but first we can prompt GPT to help us learn more about the model itself. We can open dialogue with Chat GPT and learn the significance of providing clear and concise instructions to establish the desired context, emphasize the importance of providing necessary details, and specifying the format or style of the response. We can collaborate with GPT to explore the benefits of setting contextual boundaries within our prompts. We can discuss how to better define the topic, time period, or specific constraints that can help narrow down the generated responses to a more desired range. We can learn about the use of pre-prompts to guide the model's responses and explore the advantages of introducing a brief introductory statement or question before presenting the main prompt to establish a specific context or frame of reference. Now, let's talk about something even more advanced, and that is adjusting the temperature. Let's begin with understanding temperature settings. We can engage in a conversation with GPT to learn more about the temperature parameter and its impact on the generated responses. We can learn how lower values, like 0.2, yield a more focused and deterministic output, while higher values, such as 0.8, introduce more randomness and promote creative variations. GPT can help us learn how to actually find the optimal temperature setting for our specific use case, and we can experiment with different values and discuss the trade-off between specificity and creativity, ensuring the responses align with our desired outcome. ChatGPT can help us understand the importance of adapting temperature settings to user preferences. We can discuss how different individuals may prefer varying degrees of randomness or predictability in the generated responses we receive as output from the GPT model. When it comes to managing response length, we can do things such as encouraging conciseness, allowing elaboration, and iterative prompt refinement. We can engage in a conversation with GPT to learn more about the significance of concise responses, discussing the benefits of specifying the desired response length to encourage ChatGPT to provide succinct and focused answers. GPT can help us explore situations where more detailed responses are desired and discuss techniques such as explicitly requesting elaboration, providing examples, or asking for additional supporting information to prompt longer and more comprehensive answers. GPT can also teach us how to interact on the iterative refinement of prompts to achieve the desired response length. Now, I don't know about you, but response length was one of the main things I struggled with, and going through this prompting was absolutely mind-opening, or mind-blowing and eye-opening. We can discuss with GPT how adjusting the wording or structure of the prompt can actually influence the level of detail and ensure the generated responses are appropriate for the intended purpose. Let's move on to incorporating instructions for desired response formats. We touched on this briefly in the beginning with style and format, but let's go into it more in depth right now. Let's go ahead and start with defining response structure. We can engage in a conversation with ChatGPT about the benefits of specifying a question-answer format in our prompts. We can instruct GPT how clearly stating that you expect a different response to a specific question will actually guide GPT to generate concise and focused answers. We can also explore the utility of requesting step-by-step instructions in prompts. This is very simple. You write out your question and then you tell it, give me the response in a step-by-step format. This will help provide a clear structure and can help generate more organized and informative responses. We can also learn on the inclusion of formatting guidelines inside of our input prompts. We can learn how specifying bullet points, headings, or numbered lists can encourage the model to generate well-structured and visually appealing outputs. When it comes to illustrative examples, we can learn more about the significance of this inside of prompts through asking GPT itself. Sharing sample responses or demonstrating the expected format can help GPT better understand and generate responses aligned with your requirements. There is also an importance of indicating the desired language or tone in your instructions. Be sure to specify either a formal, informal, persuasive, or technical style, as it can guide the model to generate responses that align with your intended communication style. As well as this, we can learn about the use of contextual examples, which will further guide the generation of responses. Providing specific scenarios or situations can help the GPT model understand the intended context and generate more contextually appropriate outputs. On top of this, the iterative refinements of prompts based on feedback from GPT's generated responses are of importance. We need to learn how the value of reviewing our outputs, identifying areas of improvement, and adjusting the instructions accordingly to more desirable responses help fine-tune our model. When it comes to clarity, we can help ourselves by exploring strategies for fine-tuning the clarity of the instructions we give GPT or our input. Techniques such as simplifying complex prompts, using specific language, or breaking down complex tasks into smaller, more manageable steps will all aid in getting your desired output. We can also brainstorm with GPT on the integration of user feedback to actually improve our instructions. We can discuss the benefits of considering user perspectives and adjusting the prompts based on their suggestions to ensure that the generated responses actually do in fact meet our expectations. Leveraging context and continuation in prompts effectively. Let's start with introducing the topic. We can engage in GPT or a conversation with GPT about the importance of establishing the initial context. Providing a brief introduction to the topic or stating the purpose of the conversation can help align the generated responses with our intended focus. On top of this, tone in our initial context is important as well. Specifying the desired style, formality, or emotional tone can also influence the subsequent responses and ensure that they align with our communication objectives. We also need to understand the importance of inclusion on any and all relevant background information in our initial context. There is massive benefits in providing all of the necessary details, definitions, or examples to ensure a shared understanding of the topic and generate a more accurate and informed response. Now we can begin on the role of continuation prompts in maintaining a coherent and focused dialogue. Prompts that reference previous responses or explicitly indicate the desired direction you want your conversation to go can help guide ChatGPT's subsequent outputs. We need to explore techniques for using continuation prompts to request additional information or elaboration on a particular point. Prompts that encourage expanding on previous ideas can yield more detailed and insightful responses. Continuation prompts to explore alternative perspective or comparisons can also be used. Prompts that introduce contrasting viewpoints or ask for a comparison between different concepts can elicit more comprehensive and nuanced responses. We can engage with GPT in a conversation to learn more about the iterative refinement of context and continuation prompts based on the generated responses. We're digging deep into the conversation now. This is after we have already initialized our very first input. We've informed this GPT model of what its uses are, what tone and format we would like it to give us output in. This is all after that. We need to discuss the value of reviewing our outputs that we receive, identifying areas of improvement, and adjusting our prompts to actually enhance clarity and the alignment with our objectives. We need to explore the integration of user feedback in refining context and continuation prompts, experimenting with diverse prompts for varied outputs. Let's begin with embracing different prompt structures. We can engage in a conversation with ChatGPT about the value of open-ended prompts, discussing how providing prompts that allow for creative expression, free association, or open exploration can lead to imaginative and unique responses. We can explore the effectiveness of using specific questions as prompts as well. We can learn how targeted questions can elicit focused and concise responses, making them ideal for obtaining precise information or addressing specific concerns. We can also learn about the use of scenario-based prompts to stimulate imaginative responses. These are prompts that present hypothetical situations or ask for solutions to specific changes or challenges that can inspire creative thinking and generate innovative ideas. There's great importance in incorporating historical context in our prompts. Things such as providing historical background, cultural references, or relevant events can influence the generated responses. This adds depth and accuracy to the output we receive. There's great benefits also in incorporating personal context and current events and trends in prompts. These are things such as sharing personal experiences, anecdotes, or preferences that can generate responses that are more relatable and tailored to our specific needs or interests. This also adds the value of incorporating up-to-date information, news, or popular culture references to generate responses that are timely, relevant, and reflective of the current discourse. When it comes to going further, we can explore things such as different tones and styles. There is significance of using formal and professional language in prompts. This somewhat goes along with what we were talking about earlier in the video with building rapport. We need to learn how prompts that adopt a serious and authoritative tone can elicit responses that are precise, objective, and suitable for professional context. We can collaborate with ChatGPT to learn how to explore the benefits of using informal and conversational prompts. Discussing how prompts that mimic casual conversation or adopt a friendly tone can actually generate responses that are more approachable, engaging, and relatable. There is also the use of persuasive and argumentative prompts. Prompts that represent a specific stance, require justifications, or ask for supporting evidence can lead to responses that are persuasive, logical, and well reasoned. Defining our tone and style really dictates how our entire conversation is going to go. We can also try different approaches. There is importance in trying different prompt approaches to obtain a varied output level, so you can get multiple generations. There's a value in experimenting with prompts that are outside of our comfort zone, challenge existing assumptions, or encourage unconventional thinking. We can also explore strategies for evaluating the relevance and quality of our generated outputs, discussing the importance of reviewing and comparing responses from different prompts to identify patterns, strengths, and areas for improvement. We can also learn on the integration of user feedback in refining prompt section. Let's discuss the benefits of considering user perspectives, preferences, and suggestions with ChatGPT to ensure that our generated responses meet our expectations and align with our specific goals. Pitfalls and challenges in crafting prompts. In this section, we will start with common mistakes to avoid when you're creating your prompts. We need to discuss with ChatGPT the importance of clarity in prompts, highlighting how vague or ambiguous prompts can lead to confusing or irrelevant responses. Emphasize the need to provide specific instructions and avoid open-ended or overly broad prompts. We can also explore the significance of conveying the intended purpose or direction in our prompts. Clarify that prompts should be clearly stated, and they should clearly state the desired goal or objective to guide the language model's understanding and generate more relevant and focused responses. We need to learn of the pitfalls of providing insufficient context in prompts. Prompts that lack necessary background information or fail to establish the context of the conversation can result in inadequate or inaccurate responses. There's a deep importance of neutrality and fairness in prompts, and there's drawbacks on biased or leading prompts that steer the language model towards predetermined answers or opinions. Emphasize the need for the objective and open-minded prompts that allow for diverse perspectives. We can also explore techniques for presenting prompts in a balanced manner. There's a value of considering multiple viewpoints, acknowledging different arguments, and avoiding prompts that excessively favor one side of an issue. We can also discuss with GPT and learn more about the benefits of fact-based prompts, discussing how prompts that rely on verifiable information and evidence can help generate more accurate and reliable responses while minimizing the risk of promoting false or misleading content. We can engage in a conversation with GPT also on the importance of using clear and accessible language in our prompts. Prompts that are excessively complex, jargon-filled, or technical can create barriers for understanding and lead to less comprehensible or relatable responses. There are strategies we can explore for adjusting the language complexity in prompts based on the intended audience. There are benefits to tailoring prompts to the appropriate reading level, ensuring they are understandable and engaging for our target demographic. We also can expand on the inclusion of explanations or definitions in prompts, discussing the value of providing context-specific explanations or defining unfamiliar terms to enhance comprehension and generate responses that align with the desired level of understanding. We can also go further to talk with GPT or engage in a conversation about the ethical implications of harmful or inappropriate prompts. There is an importance of avoiding prompts that encourage offensive, discriminatory, or harmful content. We need to emphasize the need to promote responsible and respectful use of ChatGPT. We can also explore the significance of considering user sensitivities when crafting prompts. Prompts should be respectful of individual boundaries, cultural norms, and personal preferences to ensure a positive and inclusive user experience. That is, of course, if a positive and inclusive experience is what we're aiming for. We can brainstorm with ChatGPT on the importance of regularly monitoring and reviewing prompts for ethical considerations, discussing the benefits of implementing content moderation strategies, and seeking feedback from users to identify and address any potential problematic prompts. Dealing with ambiguous or misleading prompts. We can discuss with ChatGPT the significance of recognizing ambiguous language in prompts, highlighting how phrases or terms with multiple interpretations can create confusion and result in unpredictable or irrelevant responses. We can explore the importance of identifying contextual gaps in our prompts, how missing or insufficient information can lead to ambiguity, making it difficult for the language model to understand the intended meaning or purpose. We also need to learn the challenges posed by prompts with multiple possible intentions. Prompts that convey more than one objective can cause conflicting interpretations and generate inconsistent or unsatisfactory responses. There are benefits to reframing or rephrasing ambiguous questions. Modifying the wording or structure of the prompt can help provide clearer instructions and guide ChatGPT towards the desired response. There's also value in providing additional contextual details inside of our input, including relevant background information, as we covered earlier. Specific examples or constraints can help narrow down the possible interpretations and elicit more precise and relevant responses. Prompts can also include requests for the language model to seek clarification when encountering ambiguous terms or instructions, ensuring a more accurate and contextually appropriate response. ChatGPT can teach us about the importance of detecting misleading languages in prompts. Certain phrases, biased wording, or deceptive framing can lead to skewed or inaccurate responses from ChatGPT. Ensuring that prompts are based on accurate and reliable sources minimizes the risk of promoting false or misleading content. Avoiding leading or biased statements can foster more objective and well-rounded responses, facilitating a fair and balanced conversation. We also need to learn about the iterative nature of prompt refinement. Testing different versions of prompts, gathering feedback, and analyzing the generated outputs can help identify and address any ambiguity or misleading elements. We can also explore the importance of user feedback in evaluating prompts for ambiguity or misleading content, involving users in the prompt creation process, seeking their perspectives, and validating the effectiveness of prompts based on their experience. There is a need for continuous improvement in our prompt creation. The iterative nature of refining prompts, such as learning from past mistakes and adopting a proactive approach to address any ambiguity or misleading elements that may arise. Addressing biases and potential ethical concerns. We can engage in a conversation with GPT about the presence of implicit biases in prompts, discussing how biases, whether conscious or unconscious, can impact the generated responses and perpetuate unfair or discriminatory content, emphasizing the importance of self-awareness and actively working to mitigate bias. We can also examine the impact of stereotypes and generalizations in our prompts. Prompts that rely on or reinforce stereotypes can actually lead to biased or inaccurate responses. Encourage GPT on the use of inclusive and diverse language that avoids generalizations based on race, gender, ethnicity, or any other characteristics. We can also discuss with GPT the significance of cultural sensitivity in our prompts, how cultural differences and norms can influence responses, and the potential for misunderstandings or offensive content. Keep in mind, this is all learning how to train the GPT model. We are training the GPT model to do exactly what we want. Our prompts should be presented in a balanced manner. We should avoid favoring one perspective over another and aim to provide equal weight to different viewpoints or arguments. We can engage with GPT in a conversation about the responsible use of AI language models, discussing the potential impact of generated content on individuals and communities, encouraging prompts that promote respect, inclusivity, and positive engagement, while discouraging the creation of prompts that may cause harm or perpetuate misinformation. We can also train our GPT model to develop ethical guidelines for prompt creation, discussing how these guidelines can serve as a reference to ensure compliance with ethical standards, including transparency, fairness, privacy, and of course, informed consent. We can train our GPT model on the importance of monitoring and moderation in prompt creation, using things such as the value of implementing robust content moderation systems to detect and address any prompts that violate ethical standard, using prompts creators use to stay vigilant and proactive in maintaining the integrity and ethical use of AI language models. We can also discuss the necessity of open dialogue regarding ethical concerns in prompt creation, engaging with the user community, research, and ethicists to address potential biases and ethical considerations collectively. We can explore ways to empower users to provide feedback on potentially biased or unethical prompts, with user reporting mechanisms and channels for voicing concerns. There's also a GPT model training on the significance of transparency and accountability in prompt creation. Strategies for troubleshooting unhelpful responses, starting with clarify and reframe. If the generated response is off-topic or too broad, consider simplifying and specifying the prompt. Break down complex questions into smaller, more specific inquiries to guide the language model towards a focused and relevant response. Help ChatGPT understand the context by providing additional information or background, including relevant details such as timeframes, locations, or specific examples to help the model generate more accurate and contextual responses. Experiment with adjusting the temperature parameter when generating responses. Higher values such as 0.8 or 1 can introduce more randomness and creativity, but might result in less focused responses. Lower values can produce more deterministic and conservative answers. Utilize top K and top P sampling techniques to control the number of words considered for each response. Top K limits the response to the top K most likely tokens, while top P, or nucleus sampling, limits the response to the minimum cumulative probability required to cover a percentage of tokens. If ChatGPT generates incorrect or misleading responses, provide corrective feedback in subsequent prompts, point out the errors, provide the correct information, and reinforce the desired response or behavior to guide the language model towards improved accuracy. If a response is still unsatisfactory, rephrase or reword the prompt to provide clearer instructions. Experiment with different phrasing to help ChatGPT understand the desired output more effectively. Consider fine-tuning the model using domain-specific data or prompts to improve its performance in specific areas. Refine and iterate on prompts by analyzing and learning from previous responses to enhance the quality of future outputs. Engage in an interactive dialogue with GPT to understand its limitations and identify areas where improvement is needed. Continuously evaluate and iterate on prompts based on user feedback, ensuring a constant feedback loop for ongoing improvement. Let's go ahead and recap. Well-crafted prompts guide to ChatGPT to generate desired and meaningful responses. Clear, specific, and context-rich prompts lead to more accurate and relevant outputs. Providing relevant context helps ChatGPT understand the desired intent and generate appropriate responses. Specific prompts yield more precise and focused answers, improving the overall quality of the conversation. Experiment with various prompt formats, such as questions, instructions, or incomplete sentences, to elicit desired responses. Varying the style of prompts, such as being conversational, formal, or creative, adds diversity to the generated outputs. Tailor your prompts to specific use cases, such as generative creating writing ideas, engaging in fictional conversations, brainstorming, or problem solving. Understand the unique requirements of each use case and design prompts accordingly to achieve the desired outcome. Recognize biases in prompts and strive to create content that is fair and respectful. Be mindful of potential ethical concerns, seek user feedback, and engage in open dialogue to continuously improve prompt quality, aka join a community. Join a community of prompt engineers. Apply strategies such as clarifying prompts, adjusting temperature and sampling techniques, providing corrective feedback, and iterating on prompt refinement to enhance the quality of responses. Let's look ahead though. Language models can evolve to provide more personalized and tailored responses based on individual preferences, past interactions, and user profiles. Imagine a language model that understands your unique writing style, tone, and preferences, allowing for even more personalized and engaging conversations. Language models can expand beyond text to incorporate multimodal inputs, including images, videos, and audio. This opens up opportunities for more immersive and interactive experiences where language models can generate responses based on visual or auditory cues. Future language models can specialize in specific domains, acquiring deep knowledge and expertise in areas like medicine, law, engineering, or finance. This specialization enables language models to provide highly accurate and insightful responses in these specialized fields, revolutionizing industry-specific applications. Language models can evolve into collaborative tools, actively assisting users in content creation, brainstorming, and idea generation. Imagine a language model that actively collaborates with you, suggesting ideas, refining drafts, and providing creative insights in real time. As the field progresses, there will be an increased emphasis on building language models that are more transparent, explainable, and accountable. And future language models will undergo rigorous ethical scrutiny, addressing biases, ensuring fairness, and promoting responsible AI practices.